Listen, footsteps echo under vaulted archways. Torches tremble. A market opens before dawn. Traders whisper numbers like prayers. Soldiers measure pay by the weight of metal. Citizens drop small discs into clay jars and call it destiny. Once they lived by rules, 5 of them, simple, stern, unyielding. Rules that build roads straight as oaths, cities tight as ledgers, and an empire that outlived those who minted its coins. We remember the monuments. We forgot the money rules.
First, they measured wealth not by what glittered, but by what endured. Hear the clink of metal. It is not mere shine. It is a promise, a standard, a weight ordained by custom and calibrated by trust. The rule was this: wealth must be anchored. If your coin loses its anchor, your society loses its memory. They accepted that a promise is only as strong as the hand that guarantees it, and the hand must be steady, disciplined. So they tied value to something difficult to fake and costly to dilute. When storms came, anchored money rode the waves. When anchors were lifted, even the largest ships spun in circles. This was Rule 1. Anchor your value to something harder than mood, harder than rumor, harder than convenience. Second, they separated what you want from what you can afford. A street seller counts now, not tomorrow. A builder knows the cost of a road in labor and grain, not just in glory. The rule was plain: spend last. First, feed the soldiers. Then, pave the routes that feed the soldiers. Only then count decorations. To spend was to swear a future payment by the sweat of real people. They accepted the stern arithmetic of this truth. The appetite of a city is endless. The purse is not. If you confuse appetite with purse, the purse grows thin, the city grows weak, and hunger grows bold. So they practiced a kind of civic frugality. The treasury is a fortress, not a candy jar. This was Rule 2. Spend like tomorrow is watching. Third, they trusted the price more than the pitch. Markets were not choruses of compliments. They were arenas of truth. If a price is too sweet, suspicion should rise like steam. If a price stings, ask why the world has grown sharper. The rule was unsentimental. Prices are messages, not enemies. Let them speak. They let merchants sniff out grain shortages before the governors noticed, and allowed the cost of transport to tell them where a road was missing. They understood that to fear the price is to fear information. Muffle the markets and you blindfold your generals. This was Rule 3. Let prices speak and learn to listen. Fourth, they held the ledger sacred. Your debts name you. Your credits note your character. To sign is to bind. To break is to shrink. In their world, a promise written was a bond sewn into the fabric of the city. Contracts were not decorations. They were ribs. Bend them too often, and the chest collapses. The rule was sober. Honor your obligations, or lose the trust that makes wealth possible. When one house cheats, it profits. When many houses cheat, no one trades. They knew that money is a network of agreements, thin but strong, invisible but vital. Snap enough strands, and the net tears. This was Rule 4. Protect the trust web, even when it hurts today, because it keeps you alive tomorrow.
Fifth, they invested in what survives the swagger. A coin spent on a circus vanishes in a night. A coin spent on a road yields for generations. The rule was their quiet genius: turn cash into capability. Stone that moves grain, bridges that move armies, aqueducts that move life itself. They asked of every expense, will this make us stronger when we have forgotten who signed for it? They guided money toward assets that made the next crisis slightly smaller, the next harvest slightly larger, the next winter less cruel. This was Rule 5. Build engines, not ornaments. Now the story tightens. The setup is clear. Anchored value, disciplined spending, honest prices, sacred ledgers, durable investment. A society rails these 5 rules into its bloodstream. The city flourishes, the army marches, the farmers sell at fair measure. The coin is heavy and constant. The poor know what a day's work buys. The rich know what a lazy coin costs. Order hums. But confrontation never asks permission. Temptation enters softly, on velvet sandals. First, they shave the anchor, just a touch. Not much, they promise. The coin that used to bite the scale now only kisses it. Who will notice? The marketplace notices. Prices twitch like nervous birds. The treasury feels a warmth that is not health, but fever. The rule says anchor your value. The moment says just this once. The city smiles, emboldened as the coin lightens and the promises grow. Then desire calls itself progress. Grand spectacles bloom where aqueducts should. The ledger hums with future receipts that never arrive. The treasury that once was fortress becomes an open door. The rule says spend like tomorrow is watching. The moment says tomorrow is polite and will not complain. Tomorrow grows teeth. The market tries to speak. Grain rises in price because the harvest was late and the roads lack repair. But officials scold the numbers instead of mending the roads. They hush the messengers, then wonder why the news grows worse. The rule says prices are messages. The moment says the message is rude. Rudeness increases. Under the torchlight, contracts blur. A powerful debtor shrugs. A neighbor imitates. Soon a merchant asks for cash up front because signatures feel lighter than the coins they promise. The rule says protect the trust web. The moment says trust is optional. Optionality spreads like a crack through marble. And then the quiet collapse of long-term thinking. The road is there until it is not. The bridge stands until it groans. The aqueduct sings until its voice fades. People wonder why the city seems smaller, why commerce feels brittle, why each crisis costs more than the last. The rule says build engines, not ornaments. The moment points to the applause and says, wasn't it glorious? The applause echoes in empty granaries. This is the confrontation, the 5 rules against 5 temptations, anchor against drift, discipline against spectacle, message against pride, contract against whim, investment against indulgence. The struggle is older than arguments and younger than fraud. It happens in palace chambers and household kitchens, in budgets both immense and modest. It is the war between what keeps wealth and what spends its shadow. Begin again, says a voice. Return to wait. Take the coin in your palm and ask, what backs this? If it is only confidence, nurture the institutions that keep confidence honest. If it is a measure of scarce effort, do not pretend effort can be printed. Anchor what you can. Admit what you cannot. That is the first step.
Stand before your ledger with clear eyes. Inflows, outflows, the old arithmetic. Promise less than you can deliver and deliver more than you promised. Give your future self the dignity of solvency. Spend on what continues to pay you when you have forgotten the paying. Let your numbers be boring and your bridges extraordinary. Let the price talk, even when it speaks in anger. If food is dear, do not vilify the baker. Repair the road, secure the supply, fix the cause. If labor is costly, understand the scarcity that commands it. If money is cheap, respect the distortions it breeds. The price is not the culprit. The price is the chorus of reality. Guard the signature. Teach your children that a promise is a piece of their name. When they sign, they are lending their honor to a future they will have to inhabit. If you break your word for convenience, you shrink your world to the size of your excuses. Whole economies become small that way. and lift your eyes to the long horizon. Ask of each expenditure, will this make us resilient when the crowd has moved on? A school that teaches the next builder is an aqueduct of the mind. A road that ties two forgotten towns is a treaty against famine. A storehouse built in fat years is a shield for the lean. Always choose the tool that outlasts the applause. The city glows again, not immediately, slowly, like embers persuading wood. The coin grows heavier in the hand as confidence returns. Prices grow honest and sometimes painful, but the pain teaches. The ledger straightens like a spine. The roads remember the feet. The bridges relearn the weight of commerce. The aqueduct sings once more. Wealth grows not in bursts of spectacle, but in the quiet compounding of good decisions. Now look to our own reflection. We have clever devices, faster markets, towering screens that trade symbols at the speed of light. But the rules are slower than light and stronger than fashion. Anchor value, spend with discipline, heed the price, honor the ledger. Invest for durability. These are not antique curiosities. They are the load-bearing walls of prosperity. Greed whispers that shortcuts are modern. Power insists that exceptions are necessary. Innovation, if honest, knows the difference between replacing the plow and painting it gold. Legacy asks only this: will what you build still feed people when your name is a rumor? The human cost of progress is paid in full when we confuse wealth with its costumes. A coin is not a costume. A budget is not a mood. A promise is not a decorative word. The city is not a stage, it is a home. Imagine a table at dusk. Simple food, simple talk. A child asks, how do we grow rich? You place a coin on the table, and next to it a small list done from memory. Anchor your value. Spend last. Trust prices. Keep your word. Build for the next century. You say, this is how cities stand. This is how families last. This is how power learns humility.
We called this an empire's wisdom, but it is simply human. Money is a story we tell each other with symbols that only matter because we agree to care. If we forget the rules, the symbols scatter like birds. If we remember, the birds become a flock, and the flock finds its way home. So ask yourself, before the markets wake, what is a fortune if it forgets how to last? What is power if it forgets what money is for? The answer is stone without mortar, a road without destination, a name without trust. And the remedy is 5 rules, old as roads, sharp as coin. Remember them, practice them, teach them, let them outlive you. Because in the end, true wealth is not what you can spend today. It is what your great-grandchildren will not have to fear tomorrow.